Hi, I'm Harry Toozle and welcome to part two of my Business Focus Challenge. Now, this part is probably going to be incredibly short relatively to the other one because it's all about going and making you think through various areas in your business. So take the workbook and make notes as I talk, as you read through it and say, I need to do something about this. This is okay. Oh, that's bad. And they say, try and distill what's the most important things that should be done, planning, management, leadership wise in your business to achieve success. Do not look at it as an audit of everything you need to do. If you look at this as an audit of everything you need to do, you're going to drive yourself nuts because you can't do everything. Uh, well, maybe you could over time, but if you had to take some immediate action, what has to be put in place now and then later and in the future? So, what this will do is give you an idea and make you think about it very quickly. What's important? What is important? Use it in that way. Now, with that said, when you lead and manage, you've got to look at customer service and support. So, my question around that would be how well is your customer service and support being run? Do you support people? Do you provide backup service if it's required? What is the customer's perception of you? Uh, what do you think? Is that good? Not good? What can be done there? The next thing I would say, marketing. Marketing is, if you want to keep it very simple, I'm not going to give you a lecture on marketing. Imagine beating a drum and trying to draw attention to yourself. How well are you doing that? Are you drawing attention to yourself to such a degree that people come and look and say, "Ooh, that's interesting. Let's have a look." Whether it's on your website or coming into your shop or looking at your signage, doesn't matter. Are you making a big noise and are people coming in? The next one is, do you have a sales plan? Now, again, think about this. Sales is about asking for the order. It is not about methods or systems or anything else. It's about asking for the order. And you've got that classic sales funnel that you go through and you draw attention, which is the marketing part. Then you create an interest, which is, okay, I'm interested. It looks good. There's a benefit for me. I'm going to get something from this. So create an interest and get them to come in. Are you doing that very well? Now, once there's an interest, create a desire for what you've got, how your product will solve their problem, uh, fix their life, whatever else it does, make them be very attractive to the opposite sex. No, not I don't know. Um, and then action. Now, this is the part where a lot of salespeople fall down. I have discussion with clients, and one of the frustrations one gets is they don't ask for the order uh, because we seem to be scared of it. But you've got to ask for the order. You've got to say, yep, the till has to ring. Think about it. What's going to make your till ring? So you've got to ask and say, will you buy this? What is your version for saying, will you buy this? Now, this is the AIDA system, right? You may have heard of it. You've probably heard of this. Create attention, interest, desire, and action. Now, make sure that you're well organized. Now, what that means in your business can be many things, but are you organized? Do you have good systems in place? Do you have good personal habits? If not, what systems are important? Accounting systems, for instance, I would always suggest you have that in place. For the simple reason is you've got to be on top of the profit you're making, the sales you're making, the expenses, and without that, you're flying blind. You don't have to be an accountant, but you can have systems in place. With that said, how are you leading and managing your people? Are you inspiring them? Now, this area can almost be pulled across every area that we've just talked about because it's all about what people are going to do. Even customers. How are you managing them? How are you impressing them? How are you managing your staff? But how are you managing your suppliers? Anyone that you come in contact with needs to be led and managed in some way. Now, you're not going to lead the customer by the nose and make them do things, and you can't command them or give them instructions like you can with staff. But how will you lead and inspire and get people to take the next step or improve their service to your customers or improve how they do put the systems in place you ask them to do? How are you inspiring them and how are you leading them? Now, always keep the big picture in mind. By that I mean there is an whole economy out there. There is many events taking place that will impact on your business. Um, don't run around thinking the sky will fall. At the same time, what is happening around you And as you get closer around you to your competitors and new products and services coming online in your industry, what's happening in your industry? Keep the big picture in mind. Now, let's do a final reflection. Now, I've actually used the Baldrige criteria. If you don't know what it is, doesn't matter. But it's a quality control and a quality audit system used by large corporates in the US. So I've not used everything, but I've used the main areas, and I've distilled it into a few questions that, if you answer them, will bring up some further things. Now, it's another perspective on the questions I have just asked. Similar, but another perspective. And it's almost like we are sitting across the table and saying, well, let's ask someone else. Not me and not you. Let's ask someone else. And I've asked the someone else I have asked, in quotation marks, would be the Baldrige system. So the first question is about your customer and market knowledge. The second question is about your people. The next one is about systems. Third one. The fourth one is about leadership and management and strategy. And the last one is about results and measurement. Now that is a critical one, actually, but well, they're all important. So let's talk, number one, about customer and market knowledge. And ask yourself these questions. How do you obtain and use customer and market knowledge? Knowledge that tells you what your customers want, what they need, what they think of your service. Just think through, how do you collect this? Online, when they come to the shop, do they fill a little form in? Do they tick a box? What do they do? Suggestion box, what do you do? The next one is, how do you build relationships and grow customer satisfaction and loyalty? Because when people are satisfied and they become loyal, well, they come back and back, and it's easier to sell to a current customer than to a new one. Now, the second one is people. How do you engage your workforce, your people, to achieve organizational and personal success? So think about this. It's not only about your company success, but how do you try and get that little thing going where, by helping you achieve your company success, they achieve their success. Now, one might say, well, that's obvious, they get money, but think about it more than that. Think about, what do you do to engage them to achieve success for your company, but for themselves? And if those two meet, you have a winning formula. Now, the other question I have is, how do you build an effective and supportive workforce environment? So, do they like working there? Is the environment there? Does chairs work? Is the tables nice? And so on, and so on, and so on. You can keep on. Now, it depends on your business. I do not know if it's a factory. How do you make it effective and supportive that people like working there and want to go and work there? And the third question I have is about systems. Now, around that is, how do you design your work systems? It could be your accounting system. It could be the way you run a factory, the quality control. It could be the way you do order processing, or sending out invoices, or answer the phone. How do you design your work systems? The things that, from point A to point Z, helps you achieve what you want to achieve. The steps you take every time. There's certain things that it's the same steps every time. That's what I mean by system. I'm not trying to be too complex here. So how do you manage and improve your key organizational work processes? So the processes that get your work done, how do you manage them, and how do you get them improved? What are the things that you do habitually, regularly, systematically, or should be doing habitually and systematically in your business? Can you improve there some way? How do you manage and improve them? Now, the fourth question now is about leadership and strategy. So how do you and your senior leaders lead? Do you just tell people? You ask them? You discuss? Now, this depends on the type of workforce you have, the type of environment, whether you're in an emergency situation, and whether you're thinking long term. I know all of that, but how do you lead? And go back to people management. Do you inspire and motivate them by how you lead? Really, that's a simple question. Do you catch them doing something good rather than doing something bad? So, how do you develop your strategy? Now, we've gone through in the first video about strategy and goal setting, planning, profits. But how do you develop it with the people you work with and the staff here around you in such a way that they feel part of it, that they buy into it, that they support it, and that they will work hard at helping you achieve your strategy? So, with that said, leadership and management, next question, how do you implement your strategy? Now, I've read many books on strategy and on marketing, well, too many sometimes. But I was always fascinated by a book this thick and then a few pages at the back, implementation. Now, when I talk to business people, that is the most important part, the most difficult part. So, how do you implement your strategy? How do you achieve your profits, your sales, your customers, and new products and service innovation? Strategy revolves around those four things, by the way. Any book on strategic management, we think this is a very highfalutin, airy-fairy, big picture, helicopter view. Yeah, very interesting. In 5 years, what's your profit going to be? What's your sales going to be? Who's your customers going to be? And what will you sell to them? If that's clear, your strategy becomes sense. Now you can do much, much more than that. But that focus is important. Now, results and measurement. What's important to measure in your business? Now, if you set your goals well around profit and sales and customers, well, you've already got a good measure in place and say, I want to achieve that, and you can measure that. So how do you measure, analyze, and then improve performance in each of the performance areas above? That four areas I just mentioned. How do you measure, analyze, and improve performance? Now, I'm not saying you must do these 5 steps and not the ones I've shown you. What I'm saying is, does this bring up some areas which, if you set profit goals, sales goals, customer related goals, and products and service related goals, that helps you achieve more around those areas and push you even further along into your growth path. With that said, thank you very much for listening to this challenge to focus on what's important in your business. But remember, do not lose sight of the 4 most important areas: profit, sales, customers, products, and services. Now, financial performance results. Profit and sales, I just mentioned that. So what is your results there? But there may be other results that if you also measure them, that will help you manage and tweak your management and your focus. That depends on the business. So just that question. Then marketplace results, which is all about customers. Then customer focused performance results, which is what do you do for your customers? What results do you want to achieve in that area? Then what product and service performance results? New products, new services coming on board. What results are you measuring there? Now, what are your workforce focused performance results? In more training, what can you measure around your people and your workforce that will show improvement or potential improvement in your business? What are your process effectiveness results? So you've got certain processes. Are they working well? And how will you measure whether those processes are improving and working better? What are your leadership results as a leader? What are you achieving as a leader? So with that said, go to my website at all and just use my contact form if you want to talk to me. You can send a request for 2 months of free business coaching. If you send that request, then it can just be a chat. You can say, I just wanted to talk to you, really. That's why I'm sending this. This is fine. You'll get the free videos and workbooks and things again, because if you're watching this, you probably did send a request, but you may have just signed on to the free workbook. But send the request and I will talk to you. And you can say, oh, no, I just wanted to hear and listen and have a quick chat over the phone before I want to talk to you. That's fine. That's the whole idea of this. With that said, thank you for listening. I really wish you great success in your business and in your life. And if you have not done the free workshop with me and the 2 months, then really think about how that would impact on you if we did what I've done in this video and in the previous video, if I did that with you one-on-one and had a discussion with you. All the best with your life and your business.